Hello everybody, this is Bulldozer Investing. Today is May 21st, 2021. It is 4:10 p.m. It's Friday, end of trading week, and we're going to go ahead and analyze some of the stocks that I picked for today. Before we start, I'd like to remind everybody that if you actually watch this on youtube.com and click on the video description itself, it'll expand to show you the timestamp so you can go back and forth between the tickers that you're interested in. First here, we're going to start with VIX. Pretty much tested the cloud tops here twice, and then it is still inside the cloud. This is the Ichimoku cloud for those who are just joining us to listen to my reviews. I usually do mention it. It's Ichimoku cloud, and I use it very often. Here, we were expecting VIX to hit the cloud bottom, so we're still looking for the 18s, 1853, or like flat 18 to see if this trend is going to hold. If it does, then that'll indicate that the market will probably see further downside. But for now, we're kind of staying neutral for the market, not bearish, not bullish. We need to wait for the indicators to tell us or signal us where we would possibly go. For now, I'm staying neutral. Our next ticker is SPY. SPY looks from, just from this right here, I don't see anything bearish. In fact, today, if it were to close above the 61.8, which we knew, remember, I mean, what was it? The 18th was the Friday from last week. No, 14th. So last time I reviewed, it was the 14th, which was right here. And I said, yes, SPY does look bullish, but I do expect a retracement back towards the 409 and 410 area, and I want to see if it holds. In fact, when we said that, I didn't expect to hit the 200 or the 50-day moving average, I'm sorry. And it went down actually and then came back up. Basically between last week and this week, I don't see pretty much any difference. I think we closed around 416.59 last week, and then this week we closed around 414. So about 414.94. So about dollar range, which is not as much. So ended the week flat. However, I do like this, confirmation, the double bottom to go for the next week. I think 420 is going to be our challenge. But let's take a look at the weekly candle, and I'll show you guys that I show you what I was just talking about, that, it was a flat week. Just want to see, and we can delete this. We don't need this retracement anymore because it did work out. On the weekly, it doesn't look it looks neutral. So let's go ahead and delete this too. We don't need it. On the weekly, it does look neutral. I can't call bear or bull at this moment. So I'll draw a couple of trend lines here. Okay. I like this better. Okay, there you go. We might be flagging on the weekly, and if we do come back towards 395 or 400, I wouldn't be surprised. And this would take like 1, 2, 3, 4, about like a month and a half, if that's what's going on. We also do have a support right here. Okay. Somewhat around here. Okay, this is the weekly chart. So 402, 400, around that level, I'm expecting another retest next week, this week, I don't know. Unless we break out and, we continue this channel that I drew, then I would expect anywhere from 440 to 450. Okay. Look at this channel. It's a weekly channel. As you can see, every time we hit, we come back, hit, we come back. And we haven't gotten close to it yet. So I'm expecting to go further and shoot out towards 450 later around end of summer. But for now, what I'm expecting for SPY to do is maybe give us a confirmation that this trend right here is going to hold and then go up. Okay. Anything that's over 420 is going to get shorted. I can tell you that as well. So let's take a look at QQQ. And remember, this is the weekly candles. That's what I meant. Again, nothing bearish. Now you'll see a lot of people doing this wedge thing, and they keep on doing it, and they keep on shorting it, and they keep on, losing money. It's not gonna work. I mean, you can draw these rising wedges as all you want, and it looks like, it lost it, and it's gonna, go down and so forth. Most of what QQQ would retest is maybe 300, 297, 300. Maybe like touch this cloud right here, or this red zone that I drew, like 283. That's fine. Only thing that would do is just go back towards. And by the way, we've been pretty much flat the entire year, so we're building a range, and I'll show you that range. And longer this base, the better it is for us. I mean, I'm hoping that it's going to break upwards, not down, but we're pretty much in this zone the entire year. And this is weekly chart. Okay. If I turn this into a daily chart, you can see it clearly, up and down, and so forth. I might have, because on the weekly chart it looks a little different, so I might have, we can adjust it, whatever. I mean, you get the point. So you get a trading zone here. And what I could tell you is that we could basically, whatever the width of this zone is, so $340. So if we break 340, we're probably heading towards 380. Okay. So that's a possibility. And I'm going to draw a rough extension here. Very rough. Just to, here 161 is 376. So we said 380, right around there should be our target. Again, remember, we're aiming long. I'm not like doing weekly calls or anything. When I do, I let know that it's a lotto, and I don't expect much. I only put like $100, $200. Nothing like, I'm trying to get rich off of it or anything. So having said that, you have to be patient with the market. It's building a strong base, and it's still on top of the cloud, which is good. Am not scared or fully bullish, mentality at this point. But what I would like to say is that you have to be cautious. I would just put money incrementally instead of putting money like all in lump sum and just wait for it to hit home run. I don't think we're in a market condition where that could play out. That could have played out at the end. You see how the weekly cloud and we're the bottom of March 16, 2020, perfectly aligned. In any type of crash, you can aim for the cloud bottoms on the weekly chart. Like 249 would be the worst case. As you can see here, right, this crash, worst case scenario, another crash would come. It would be 240 for NASDAQ or QQQ, whatever you want to, call it for. And if you want to have that extension, we can also do that to see if, oh, did I choose something else? No. So any type of crash, you're probably aiming right around here. I'm going to remove this, but just in case you guys, for like later on future, purposes, any type of crash or any type of bounce, you're going to aim around like 310. For now, I've seen, charts on Twitter, fintech community, they're just squeezing the heck out of the charts just to show you that, just to scare you. I can't do it in this one, but on other platforms, you can just like squeeze the chart so it just looks like vertically up. Um, and I do get bear concern. I mean, I do get their concerns that market has been extended, but right now, I wouldn't worry until we go below 50-day moving average on the weekly, which is let's say 300. If QQQ breaks down 300, then we're going down to 240. Other than that, I'm pretty neutral at this point. In fact, a little more bullish neutral because we just hit the bottom of this trend and I'm expecting this to go at least, we said 380, but let's say 372. So I'm more bullish than bearish at this point, but we'll see what future brings. We'll go to the next ticker though, is down. So let's see diamonds. Yeah, we had lots of drawings on Dow. And Dow is struggling this, extension of 50% to 61, which is 343 to 345 level. We'll go ahead and delete that. We'll go ahead and delete this as well. Delete this, delete everything. I just want to draw a simple trend here. And this could be a bearish move as well, depending on where it breaks, up or down, right? So I'm not sure if the next move down is going to test the cloud again, which SPY kind of did that. I mean, we did that once, right, Diamond? So 1, 2, 3, the fourth wave. I'm not sure if it's going to go ahead and retest the 50 on the daily or the cloud top at 335. I would hedge. It's not a trading suggestion, but what I would do if I trade this would be, if I'm long, I would hedge the 335s puts. I don't know if they have like an inverse ETF. Like I know QQQ has TQQQ and SQQQ. So, I don't know if Dow Jones has something like that, but this doesn't look very healthy. I would want another retest at 335. Anything that breaks above this trend line, this upper trend line that I drew, will most likely fill 347, this gap, and then get shorted down at 335. I'm not comfortable with Dow Jones until it tests 335 again. Okay. Next up is Russell, so IWM. Let's take a look. It's building a pretty good base actually, and it looks like it's gonna squeeze out of this. And once it does, and I thought it did right here, right? But let's make this longer, and once it does, it's gonna go big. I feel like this has a lot of room to run, and that's when remember we've been talking about. I'm expecting the mid to small cap to run late summer. I think it's building that right now. And again, all technicals work until until this bottom trend line is broken down. So if Russell breaks down this trend, then my prediction will go wrong. Again, all we do in technical analysis is putting out a guess or an estimate on the probability of previous trends, looking at the probability and depending on the previous trends and how it acted before. So instead of just flipping a coin, we're flipping a coin more towards educated. Like if you've taken a statistics class and let's say like if you hold a coin in a certain degree, statistics say that certain amount of times it'll land tails or head. So that's what it is. It's like we're looking at the statistics of future or not future, sorry, previous patterns and trends, and trying to align it with the future and see if it if the history repeats itself. That's all it is. So if we do get a second bounce from, I feel like next week this is my guess. Russell and Dow and all the ETFs basically are going to go down hard and test another, low. That's what I feel like it's going to happen. Let me take a screenshot and tell you what I see in this chart. It's flagging, definitely. It's going to be a big upside to this, but so I feel like I'm getting another, like, I feel like it's going to get another test to this downtrend and then go and then break out. Okay. And this breakout is going to be huge. Now, what will this, my guess will not work out if this bottom trend line is broken down. Then you're going to see like testing this right here, testing this gap right here. Okay. The cloud flat lines should give you a clue where it's going to test. So this zone right here. Okay. But anyhow, I'm more again, I have bullish mentality. I try to think positive to make money. You know, you call the positive, positive comes to you. If you call the negative, it always comes to you for some reason. So let's do an auto zoom. And where could this go? If I can pick this line. About 290. Once it breaks out. Once it breaks out. And a very good sample would be if let's do the weekly too, because I haven't checked the weekly on Russell. Yeah, perfect. I mean, look at this. So a very similar pattern here. Let me fix this. I'm sorry. A very similar formation and a breakout happened right here. Okay. Let me zoom in. And I keep complaining about it. It just never comes to fix this, but I don't know what it is. The expansion area just keeps on getting messed up all the time. So you see this, okay, right here, and it just exploded. I'm expecting another one. Worst case scenario for Russell, 200. If it breaks and it looks like on the weekly, the moving averages of 9 and 20-day moving averages are doing a bearish crossover. If that happens, expect like around 198, 200. Worst case, the 50-day moving average sitting at 185. That would be like a mini crash. Okay. I always give you both sides of the story. I'm not, and again, you have to be very flexible in this market. If you're always stuck to one idea, then you're done. Market will crush you. Okay. So given this trend line right here that I just drew from the previous tops, worst case scenario will be around 190s. The best scenario was I said 290s, but again, it all depends on if we break out of this pennant. Okay. Let's review Apple and see what's going on. Same same old trading zone. I do love this double bottom. It's trying to get inside the cloud, which is positive. Um, I like Apple. There is an opportunity in this little downtrend, descending wedge that we drew. It actually went over it and it was challenging the 50-day. It's still underneath it, and today it was kind of bad that it's positive and closed the day negative. It was like positive what? It's like 127 at one point. It was like more than 1%, and then closed it exactly the opposite, negative 150 almost. So, and I'm not sure if this has anything to do with like crypto crashing. I can't correlate crypto money coming to, like, I would be speculating. I don't know how the money flows when, out of crypto or from stocks to crypto and crypto to stocks? I can't say that because we don't know. I don't have the transactions. How would I know, right? So I'm not going to stick the Bitcoin crash into stock market falling down, or this is something new, right? So I wouldn't know. I don't have an history besides I think it was 2018 or 17 where crypto crashed, but did anything happen to the stock market? I can't recall it. Well, the 2018 December of 2018, yeah, but I'm not sure if it correlates with crypto, so it's hard to say. Anyhow, I think that was Powell trying to be hawkish. And that had nothing to do with crypto at that point. The Christmas Eve massacre on the stock market. Anyhow, Apple, I think it still has a room to run towards 131 to 133. We'll have to wait and see, but it is trying to challenge. So the resistance came in at 50, but the support came in at 9-day moving average. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm bullish on Apple. It broke this descending wedge towards the upside. Now let's take a look at the weekly. On the weekly, this doesn't really matter, so I'm going to delete. You see how insufficient some trend lines are when we zoom out to weekly? Um, it's hard to say anything on the weekly. Reason why. I definitely see a rounding top. Okay, you see this rounding top. That's one thing. Do I see a mini, cup and a handle? The handle is overextended, but could it break out of this any moment? Yeah. Okay. Could it break out of this any moment? Yes. Next week it could. But would it change anything about this rounding top? No. So let's wait and see if Apple can break and sustain over 140. If it does, then yes, I would be more bullish. I was always bullish on Apple, but until I saw this rounding top forming, then I have to sit and wait. Do you see this now that I drew this? Let's delete it. You see how this weekly candle closed right on this trend line? Okay, it's not a coincidence at all. Next move up could take you easily towards 155. The fact of the matter is that will we break down this trend line and get a retest on the 50-day moving average, which is sitting at 120, 118, 120, just So nobody would know that. I would say two possible scenarios. One, breaking down this trend line, retesting the 50 at 118, or going higher for the next couple months and going towards 152. We can't know that because this is a very large rounding top. Rounding tops are scary. It happened in crypto Bitcoin. I drew the rounding top on the Bitcoin and warned everybody. And I said I'm not a crypto expert, but it is what it is. The rounding tops are always nasty. Okay. I know it was. I don't have like a drawing tool that would draw a perfect cup shape, but if Apple loses 105, so if rounding right here, it will crash. It'll crash until $80. Not trying to scare people, but that's exactly what happened to Bitcoin. So you don't want to lose this right here. Whatever this was, 105, 109, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's sitting exactly in between 110 and 100, so I'm just guessing that it's 105. So you don't want this rounding top. You want to break out, okay? That's why I'm kind of staying neutral at this point with Apple until we break. Even if we break above this 133 and just come around 140, I'll change my mind on the rounding top. But at this point, you see this rounding top on Apple on the weekly? Bam. Rounding top, bam. Okay. You see this clear rounding top. As soon as it lost this right here, crashed. This was the 2018, I think, December that I was talking about. And then over in 2020, COVID. bam. Okay, rounding top, rounding top. This was a mini rounding top. It's not exactly what I would call a rounding top, but and then if this is a bigger rounding top, the drop will be even bigger. That would be scary. So I hope it doesn't happen, and I think it won't, but just, telling you guys to be cautious. Next up is Amazon. Let's take a look at Amazon. Wow, there's a lot of drawing in here. What I'm gonna do is, I know we had the diamond formation. Let's delete the down. Let's delete a lot of these. So many drawings, right? We worked on Amazon a lot. So this is the weekly though. That's why it looks kind of bad, because on the weekly we tend to draw, or on the daily we drew a lot of things. When we zoom out, it just seems too clustered. All right, so you clearly see that Amazon is getting a support at 50-day moving average on the weekly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Now we're at the resistance zone. This is going to be your resistance zone. Okay. Breaking above 32.67 or 32.68, you're going to go through, I'd see my target would be 33.40. Okay. I'm not aiming for 3,500 yet. Neither should you, because this is a strong resistance right here. 3,400 is a strong resistance. I don't know what's going on with Amazon. I don't know what's going on with Microsoft. So Jeff Bezos stepping down as CEO. Bill Gates divorcing, stepping out of the board, or getting kicked out of the board. I mean, I don't want to speculate. I have some conspiracies running in my head, but I don't know. I don't want to say it, because I don't have a proof. It is just a conspiracy. But I don't know if any kind of bad or freaky news come out for, these two people. I don't know if how it would affect the stock. I guess it would be in a negative way, but if it does, I would buy the dip. Amazon at this point, look at it. $15.79 per share. They need to split. Okay, NVDA 4-1 today. Amazon needs to split. I would say even 3-1 is sufficient enough. 3-1, you'd still have a lot of, you'd still, your earnings still would be pretty good, earnings per share. $15 per share for earnings. It's huge. So if you want to have like $2-3 per, the previous levels I'm looking at, 5, 5, 6, 7, 5, 4, 6, if you're gonna go to that level, you can do 3-1 and still maintain your previous, earnings per share, and it would boost the stock for a bit. And when it does, it's gonna hit 4,000s. But it seems like it's not getting out of this range. Okay. If let's say that our first target is 32,400, 32.40, or I'm sorry, 33.40, and a huge wall around 34.50. If it does manage to break out, don't get sucked in. As we saw a couple fake breakouts, 1, 2, 3, and it went down. So you got to watch out for that, okay? Next up is Boeing. So Boeing's chart on the daily was interesting. Now let's clear all of this. And as you can see, this is the weekly chart, by the way. Reason why I'm reviewing weekly charts is because it's much more clear, and then at the same time you can focus on the long term. Okay. A bounce from here will take you towards 314, 315. Again, if I draw an extension, the 161 will take you there. Oh, well, actually, not even there, much higher. It would take you to 357, which would be the pre-COVID range. I've always thought that after COVID and max, what was it, the 337s, I think. Sorry if I'm wrong, bad with memory. Um, it was a good generational buying opportunity. Regardless, if I notice that if I do the extension from this, still 358, and I did this from this low from the Feb 1st, March 15, and the last day today, it still pointed out 357. So my target is 357 in the longer term for Boeing. Most likely. So it filled this gap right here. Okay, it filled this gap right here. This gap. The next gap is your target. It should be your target. Okay. Notice that as soon as it filled this gap, what did it do? Retraced back. So even though I said 357, what would most likely happen, and I'm going to delete this extension, it would most likely go towards 320s and then come back for another, 282 and then go back to 357. But I like this trend. I like what Boeing is doing, on the weekly, trying to, go over this cloud top. If it fails to do so, you're looking at 200. But most likely, it's just going to rip higher towards 300 and eventually fill this gap around 320. Okay. Next up is Coinbase. I don't know if I've reviewed Coin before. Maybe I did on TradingView. I can't do daily because it's a recent IPO. Let's try to do an hourly chart. I hate doing hourly charts, honestly. Wow, it went 208. Let me bring up TradingView to see if I can have a better view. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing here. If it breaks above 225, you're looking at 256. Now let's go back to the Thinkorswim. Bitcoin crashing, it's probably affecting Coinbase. Now, I don't think it's affecting their business. Buy or sell, you still pay commission. Now, in the longer term of things, will trading crypto, trending this, all these people buy and sell and so forth. Will the fashion, will the trend, will the fad of Bitcoin and the altcoins die off to eventually affect Coinbase's business? I think they're probably going to evolve not only to trade, Bitcoin and altcoins, but they're probably going to, whatever the Fed was saying, they might create their own digital currency. Maybe Coinbase could get into that and still be in a legal business. I know the Chinese is doing stuff about, I don't know what it was. I didn't read the news, but it was something about them blocking any kind of crypto coin buy, sell, or what. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I don't know if they're illegalizing trading or mining. I couldn't read it well. It was just like a skim through type of thing. But for Coinbase, you're gonna have 236 and 243 resistance. I cannot tell you. I can tell you it's gonna drop further on the hourly. On the 4 hours, Honestly, I don't see any bullish sign on this. Kathy is buying it left and right. I mean, she does have researchers, right? She does have a big, a huge team. But I don't know if they can't. This is not going to be a technical analysis, but most likely they're doing a fundamental analysis. All I can say is that if it hits the cloud top around 240, that would be good. Or even this 50-day moving average can come. It's not really. It's formed recently on the 4 hours. On the daily, I don't have any moving day averages formed properly yet. All I can say is it does look like it broke out of this pennant, but it could come back down to test 187. I wouldn't touch this thing. Next up is CrowdStrike. What a nice recovery from 180. And the internals seem like it's ready on a bullish run. I know the chart is really busy, so I'm just going to go ahead and clear all the drawing sets. Most importantly, can it finish above 209 for the next, couple of weeks? I love this rounding bottom. If the very critical area is going to be 227. And I hate the fact that I don't know if I can like upload some type of external drawing tools on this, but I can't draw like a perfect rounding bottom on this one. So what I'm going to do is just take a snapshot. All of these internal indicators are bullish. Now I love the rounding bottom. Love the fact that it like trying to break above. What it's going to do most likely, this is my guess. You see this cloud line is right at where we ended this week. It'll probably come back. It'll go back up to 227 and then come back and retest and go up. This would be invalid if it breaks the cup itself and goes down. Okay. My guess going up testing 227. So 227 should be your target for this one. However, on the longer term, you see this rounding bottom, it's a good sign, okay? Next up is FSLY. The stock has been pretty much beaten down all year. Just like any other, high growth stocks. On the weekly, you can see, like on the daily, you're like, okay, the chart, I don't know what it looks like, but on the weekly, things are more clear. Okay. So most likely, if it goes really bullish, I'd say 58. However, if it goes down, you're going to go ahead and test 34. I don't know if there's much downside to losing at this point because you're pretty much like taken down pretty hard. Like risk to reward is pretty high on this one. That's my guess. That's my opinion, not my guess, but that's my opinion. That the risk to reward, if it bounces from here and drives to the cloud top on the weekly or the bottom on the weekly, you're looking at 74. That's 100%, almost 100%. I don't know how their business is doing. I would prefer Cloudflare, which we're going to review in next couple stocks. I would prefer Cloudflare, but I can't ignore the fact that I don't know if you like bottom fishing. Some of you guys are like, no, I'll play the lead. Cloudflare is better company. I'm just gonna go ahead and if you're investing, that's fine. If you're speculating or if you want to play the trend or trade, swing trade it, I think there's a good chance of high risk, low risk, high reward ratio on this one. Okay. Your target should be 57. Next up is FUBO. Actually on the weekly, FUBO doesn't look bad. You see it broke above this trend. Now I think it's gonna test 2292 next week. Let's look at the daily. And on the daily, it's more apparent that this trend right here is broken above. 9-day and the 20 are curling up. 22.40, $23. It's flagging too. It formed like a little mini flag here, and it will retest $23. On the longer term, like I said with FSLY, there's a good risk to reward ratio. And most of the small caps to mid caps or the high growth stocks, so I'm going to delete this trend line, are forming some type of a semi-rounding bottom. I think they're bottoming out, okay? Rather you take it from here. They're kind of rounding bottom, okay? Rounding bottom. So as long as the price can fluctuate around 25 to 20 or 25 to 18, 19, and you try to protect that level for the next couple months, I think it's just going to explode back towards the $40 area. I could do an extension and so forth, but that's not the point, because the extension here, I mean, I don't even think there should be an extent. I think there should be a retracement, not an extension. What did I say? $40 area, right? 41 is the 61.8. So that's why I don't feel like drawing extensions, because most of the time if you have the cloud and you see these flat lines, okay? You see these flat lines, that's where your range is going to be on the upper end. Okay? Big flat lines here, okay? Big flat lines here. So you're guessing you're going to guess towards 37 to 42, and I said around 40 just in the middle. So that should be your target for the longer term if this rounding bottom holds, okay? Next up is Cloudflare, so net. Again, apparent rounding bottom. Now and this one worked out, you know, we'll delete this, delete everything from here. We're still underneath the cloud, but this is a generational opportunity. And you might think I'm over exaggerating, but when I see a rounding bottom like this, look at this. The MACD is going to cross over. Stochastics is already there. RSI is holding this rounding bottom. The internals are ready to go. And then you have this rounding bottom on the chart itself. Your target should be around 85, 87 area. And I want to see what it does afterwards, because the price has to maintain above 87. Currently, I think it's a good play to drive up to 87. But after 87, I'm going to have to watch closely. But the bigger the base, the longer the base, so the longer this base is going to go. Let me draw this again. Longer this base is, the bigger the move is going to come to. But as long as you maintain this rounding bottom, you should be good. I love the chart. I love what it looks like. And I think it's ready to go towards 87. Next up is Netflix. Now Netflix, again, I was kind of off a couple cents or a dollar at the bottom, but we were pretty close enough, right? After it lost, so we guessed this correct, and then we kind of guessed this correct. Now the previous support is acting as a resistance. That's one thing. Again, Netflix on a huge trading range. It's not, it's just coiling up for a move. They had this news about gaming, hiring some type of CEO, or I don't know what they were hiring, but they're opening a new department for gaming, Netflix gaming. Now, Amazon could get into it as well. I guess what I am guessing is if you have Apple TV and how it has this, um, like game store type of thing, Netflix might have its own game store, and it would be off of a cloud-based subscription, I guess. It'll save your game and you can select it. It would be pretty cool if it has some type of like a Netflix interface. You can like select adventure games, sports games, kids games, and whatever, and you don't need a console, but your TV would burn out, right? Your TV needs to have high graphic cards and, well, not really, because you're playing it off of a cloud-based computing, so they just need to build a strong cloud-based server. Your TV should be fine. Yeah, actually, just thinking this over through, if they can have maybe a yearly subscription and without the need of console, the issue is like nobody can get PlayStation 5. It's like sold out, right? If they can have the quality of games as, you know, PlayStation and Xbox has, and they don't need to build games off of their own, like their own content, I think it could work if the price is just right. I know Google had tried the Stadia or whatever they're doing. I don't know if it really helped. Like they're doing it off of YouTube. I don't know what it was, but um, if I want to see if this is just kind of a news to like pump the stock or if they're actually doing something. It would be interesting to see the sales of this. Other than that, I talked about the fundamentals of Netflix going into gaming. Would it work? I think it should, because millions and millions of people do already have Netflix subscription, right? So you know, if you don't need a gaming console and you just log into your, I don't know how this would work, but like your Netflix app, would it work? I don't know. But if they pull out something cool, they have worldwide subscription base. So I think that would at least increase the value of Netflix by 15 to 20%. That's my guess. So that would be, I would say anything about like, I would say $600 would be my target for Netflix if this gaming thing is for real. Next up is NVDA. Now NVIDIA it looked good, but it finished the day with a red candle. But I could tell you the stochastics MACD RSI looks beautiful. It's definitely going to 648, retesting the previous high. Um, I love this. I love this. It is so exciting. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete all of this stuff. Let's just go ahead and do clear. Yep. When you are patient, and it's kind of wears you out too. Like look at it, like so many down days, so many down days, and you're like, okay. But if you know the cloud and you know this cloud line and it held beautifully, look at it to the exact cent. Okay. Bounced off, came back, retested, and it just flew in 3 days. 1, 2, 3. Earnings are coming up on the 26th. So I'm not sure if this is like a pre-earning pump and dump scenario, but I don't think it is. Let's do an extension because I'm excited about this chart. First target and second target, $842. Everything is going to the cloud. NVIDIA is in the self-driving automation business for automobiles. They're in gaming, they're in cloud business, they're on top of their game. This is a stock to get and forget. I think the recent, I think this was probably people who knew it was going to get split, they just bought it and brought up, but 4-to-1 split gives you an opportunity. This could easily double the value. You might think I'm crazy, but I'm not. Okay. I already gave you, so let's say that it's $600 today. I'm already saying 842. So 842, 242, 40% up. After the split, I mean, not like right after the split, but after the split, the stock is gonna look at this whole base of almost like what is it like 1 year? Okay, it's gonna explode. It's gonna pull out something like this. I mean, I'm not pumping the stock because I don't own the stock, but it's gonna do this next move. Okay, it's beautiful. Now, what would be the worst case? It would be 515 for NVDA. Worst case. Solid stock. Keeps on delivering, keeps on beating the best technology, and I think it's just going to go towards $842 in the near future. Well, it's going to do a 4-to-1 split, so just divide 840 by 2. So 842 divide by 4, $210 will be my target after split. It's going to split into 640. So it's like, let's say 600 split into 4, 150. Okay. And then we said, so 150 to 210. Okay. That would be my target. I'm kind of excited about this chart. It looks nice. Next up is Palantir. Let's take a look. Now this is the weekly chart. There's of course, an obvious trend here. Let's take a look at the daily chart. The reason why I'm skipping the weekly is because the stock has only been out for like less than a year now. Is it almost a year? Has it been a year? No. September 30th, I guess it'll be a year. All right, so I'm kind of nervous here. I like the fact that 9 days curling up, 20. We haven't been above too much, and every time we did, we collapsed down. But it's exciting to see that we're retesting, and today we did. And look what happened. Look what happened. Our first test. The first test went down. Second test, I don't know what's gonna go on. But what's my and look at this. The resistance line that I drew, we touched it, and it just it wouldn't close above. But the chart is squeezing. Okay. A lot of the institutions are getting in. I think it's a fair price at this point, and it could easily shoot up to 25 in the near future. Okay. In the long term, we don't know what this company is capable of. In a way, in a good way, not in a bad way, in a good way. So we don't know how disruptive the artificial intelligence business is going to be in the near future. I'm guessing it will be, but how is the real question? Like how much? Back when everybody spoke 2011, 12, everybody spoke of the cloud business. That's when Microsoft back in 2012, what was it? How much was it? It was like, what, $40? I don't know. 2012, I need to go back to like 10 years. 14, 2012, 30 some. I remember studying cloud around, 2012. And Microsoft was around $30. And I'll tell you what, the cloud subscription base, their cloud Azure, Not when we think of cloud business, don't think of Azure directly. The reason why is because they are Microsoft services have been cloud services now, like Microsoft Office. So from $30 to 263. Now you could do the same thing with Amazon, once they got into the cloud business at 2012, 270 to 3500. Um, so we're looking at artificial intelligence. Rather it be Snow is kind of big data, but rather there's so many. There's Coop, like there's so many companies out there. Um, is this the Korean? Yeah, the Korean Amazon. I'm not sure if I'm spelling it right or it's just not Copa software. Yeah. So all these are artificial intelligence businesses. Now I don't want to promote like other companies out there, but you get the point. All of these guys, rather it be Palantir, rather it be other, artificial intelligence companies, we don't know in 10 years where the business will be. Would it be the next Microsoft move from $30 to $300? I don't know what it was, like 290, 300. So will Palantir be $200, 5 times its value, or would it be? I don't know. Or 10? Would it be 10? Actually, almost 10, not even 5. 5 would be $100. Would it be $200, 10 times its value? I don't know. I don't want to pump. I don't know. In 10 years, would it be? But the artificial intelligence will surely be the next opportunity for tech stocks. Okay. So I am just saying it will be 25 in the very near future. Reason why I'm saying that is this line right here. Where is it yet? Did I delete the line or it's not 25? I'm sorry, 27. Yeah, 27 in the near future. But my my 52 target price. So let's go back here. Oh, this is 1 hour. That's why I'm like, what's wrong with the chart? Okay. All right. So you get this arch. You get 1, 2. Okay. My guess is that we're gonna hit, and wherever you go, right, to the top, it's gonna be around 52. And if it takes the longer it takes, the price target might go down a little bit, obviously, depending on, because I'm putting this arch as my, estimation. But if we hit by November, I'm expecting somewhere $50. End of year somewhere around $50. That would be double its value. It's very hard to judge Palantir at the very beginning of their stock performance. I know the company is not new, it's been like 15 or 17 years, but how will the institutions judge it? How will the market judge it? We don't know. As you can see, the mass volume of trading is right around 25. So that's, I think, where I got kind of stuck my head. I was expecting 25. 25 to 27 near future is where my guess is. Okay. So let's take a look at the next stock, which is Peloton. It hit our target. All right. So I'm going to delete this. Let's delete all of this. And you see how I drew this? Now it's back up there. It saw this crash was due to the treadmill incident where unfortunately one person died, and it was like right at the earnings too. Now it's coming towards the 50-day moving average, 104. Now if you go back to my recording, I have most likely said that according to this, 104 would be the bullish target here. And I remember saying that. Now it's there. Um, I don't know. At this point, if it reaches 50 moving day average around 103, I would be a seller there. I would sell it. But you see a lot of buying went on there. I would sell just in case and wait. I don't I don't know. I don't see like a perfect rounding bottom yet. I don't know how much it could go up any further because it went from $80 to $100. That's pretty good. $20 and 80, 25%. Are you going to say it went down 25%? I don't care if you were holding there. I'm talking about the buyers here will sell it. Okay. So I would sell and wait because let's say if it even breaks out of this, the cloud top is going to be, if cloud bottom is going to be a huge resistance. So it's not the opportunity. I think the risk to reward is flat. I would wait for another opportunity. Next up is ROKU. So let's go ahead and take a look at ROKU. Looks very similar. So if we just reviewed Peloton, and the chart of ROKU seems a little similar, but it looks like it's more of a rounding bottom. It's forming a rounding bottom. Now it might not be like, yes, I cannot say that it is the bottom, but what I'm expecting this chart to do, or this stock to do, is something like this. Okay. Now, if we see this rounding bottom forming, I could, these two levels will be my target, 367, 383, and it might do a little cup and then break out. However, the chart, I mean, the company itself, the valuation wise, it's a little valuated. Now, you can, argue with me. I'm not like the fundamentals guy. I don't really like look at all the sales and it's, all the math thing, and accounting has been my weakest point. So I would, the chart itself is suggesting that it's a rounding bottom and it's going to go higher. But in the meantime, can it drop down to $300? Yes. As long as this rounding bottom is forming, you could have mini downfalls, but the overall direction is going to go up. I'm just saying, as long as if it holds this cup. If it doesn't, it'll break down and it'll most likely visit 235. At this point, there's no indication of breaking down, so we can't give like, we can't give a bearish scenario. But what I could say is that this wedge is forming. Now, in any case, it could come down towards this bottom of the wedge. You need to break out. You have two issues. One is the 50-day moving average right above. The trend line is right above. And also the cloud bottom is right above. So everything is working against you. So what could happen is it could go down, come up, down, and form that little cup, the rounding bottom that I was talking about. If it breaks out, I would sell it immediately. Because it's gonna, remember my price target was 367, 383. If it reaches 367, I'll be a seller there. Because this is the type of market. It's like before, it's like you wait, you ride, you to the moon. This type of current condition, you sell the rip, buy the dip. You sell the rip, wait for the dip, and buy the dip. So that's how it's been going so far. And I can't, deny the fact. And that's, I guess that's it. But you see this wedge right here, this ending wedge. Anything that goes really worse, some bad news, I don't know what happens technically. If it breaks down 317, my stop loss would be at 317. If it breaks down, because it could go down. Okay? It could go down much further. Next up is Square. So let's now I like to buy things off of the bottom of the trend line. Is it there? Yes. Did it? So it's kind of weird that it had the triple bottom, went up, and then came back down. I think that it will test 219. I'm expecting Square to have a nice week next week. Although the MACD still can, RSI is sitting at oversold territories. MACD and same thing, like it did not coil up. There's no indication of a reversal yet, but this will be a point where I would start a small position and like build as it build it. Your stop loss area is going to be right here, okay, which is 197. Okay, so that's my view on Square. I could take a look at the weekly chart. As you can see on the weekly, it's at a very sweet spot of 50-day moving average. It could bounce all the way up here at 229. We will watch and see. So 30 points to the current price level could make sense. Okay. And oh, did I do something on my microphone? I don't know, but clicked on something definitely. Okay. So that's, yeah, this is going to be a good bounce on Square on the weekly chart. It looks exciting. I know the chart is, all the indicators are bearish. There's a bearish crossover on the top, but when you do hit 50, you kind of tend to have a quick reaction and bounce off. That 229, 230 level should be where you could sell. Okay. Next up is TDOC. The chart has been so beaten down from 308, now it's 140. So is it a fair value? Will the business continue to thrive and do better? I'm not sure. Like, I haven't checked the business and how their business is going, but what I could tell you is that it's below the 100. I don't know where the 200 is, but Kathy's top two, I think the second top, first is Tesla, the second one is TDOC, interestingly. So she must be looking at this on the long term side of things. And the chart is kind of broken after it went down below 148. Now, will it come back? And if it does, that will be a good reversal. There's 2 points here. Okay. It held the second support, which is good, but your resistance is going to be 148. Okay. If you're trading this stock, I would just say invest it, not trade it. But you see on the daily, it's more apparent, but there's a little rounding bottom, and I feel like it's going to retest 154 and 150 calls. I'm not sure. I haven't played options on TDOC, but 150 calls will be interesting because it's a magnet. The 20-day moving average is going to be a magnet. So my price target for the next couple of weeks is going to be 150 for this. $10. We'll see how that goes, but I think it's a good opportunity because I like the rounding bottom. I like that it broke. The price is above 9-day moving average. Resistance at 148, but 150 is a psychological level here, and I think it's going to reach that target. Trade desk. It's been beaten down, and this stock is going to go to a 10 to 1. I'm not sure what the intention was on the 10 to 1. I honestly don't think they needed to go 10 to 1. Maybe maybe 1 to 5 would have been fair. Um, and the business will thrive back. I think the stock is going to go again. It's a magnet and the gap fill. 600, 610 around there is going to be my target. Again, I'm not giving out like long dated targets here because the chart is pretty much beaten down. I don't know anytime soon, like I don't see a rounding bottom or any kind of recovery signals. Yeah, the MACD is crossing, stochastics RSIs is over. Yes, but it's going to be a quick bounce. Maximum you're going to get 633. The cloud is red, huge red lines here. So your first resistance, 633. Second resistance, 740. But I'm not seeing the rounding bottom being established. I'm not seeing a breakout. Earnings are far off the way, and I don't know how the stock is going to react before the split. I usually say this, and it's not a trading advice or anything, but buy it before the split, sell it right after. And you've seen it in the near term when it happened to Apple and Tesla. Okay, so I mean, I'm not putting this stock in the same category, but it is going through a descending wedge, and it's gonna get back to its where it was before. But the issue is it's gonna take some time. It's getting some beating. A nice place would be 448. It on the weekly, it is sitting at the cloud bottom. That's a good indication of a bounce. I think 633 is going to be where my target was. So let's see if it works or not. But I like this. I mean, when a good beaten down stock, when I say good beaten down, I meant like a good quality stock, a nice company, a good company where its stock is beaten down and it's just, you know, to an extent where it's cheap at that point, you can buy. Is Trade Desk cheap? I don't know. I didn't check the valuations, but from the price level of point of things, you're sitting at 539 and the high was 972. You're looking at a discount. You might say, well, it was not worth 900 anyway, so it's sitting at a current price. So that I don't know, right? That I can't say because I don't know what the true valuation of the company could be. But I'm giving you the support zones right here. Okay? So this zone right here is a good buying zone. And that's it for Trade Desk. Last stock for the day is Uber. Um, see, the thing is, you can like one stock, but doesn't mean the stock will do good. I like Uber, the fact that it it's a disruptive business. Like it has the technology. It changed. It's just like Apple, right? It changed the way people, I don't want to say behave, but it changed the people how they lived. If for one thing, we get less drunk drivers. I mean, like, yeah, that's how I like to think about it. When people go out, I don't know how many times you had a friend that, all right, we're not drinking, and we have a designated driver. That designated driver always, takes a drink or two. So I'm not suggesting that they should, but it's always been the case. So call an Uber, go home, it's safe. I see a rounding top. Let's take a picture. See this rounding top? It could go and retest this cloud line right here, which is at $52. I need the price to stay above $52. At this point, I would be collecting, not putting an entire money. Let's say like you have $100,000 and you want to build a portfolio and you want to preserve 10% or let's say 5% to Uber, which is $5,000. I would put 5 to 10% of the designated money in Uber. So if you have $5,000 designated to Uber for 100% investment on the 5% portfolio, on the 5% of the overall portfolio, which is $5,000, I would invest maximum 10% of the 5,000, which is $500 at this point. Now, why do I say that? It's because it could easily test. So for one thing, you have this cloud line right here, okay? But it could easily go ahead and lose the valuation towards these levels. All right. So it could come back to 45, it could come back to 42.5, it could come back to $40. We don't know. Even though the 9-day curled up, it did not break above the 20 and well below the 50 and 100. And I'll tell you the resistance, which is the current price level. Okay, these are the two resistance, 48 and 52. And it said as long as it's above 52, I might rethink. But for now, if you're building over a portfolio and you want to include Uber and you have 5% of the overall portfolio, I would probably use 10% of that 5% valuation. Okay. So that's all. I hope you enjoyed all the review. I know I didn't ask this week. I know it was different, but I didn't ask the ticker symbols from Twitter followers this week. I just did it, had a list of my own and reviewed it. Overall, it just seems like some of the stocks, some of the growth names are forming rounding bottom. Some of them are neutral. Some of them are just, I wouldn't touch it. Like Apple at this point, I was so bullish on it. But then at one point, I've reviewed Apple, right? If it loses that 1 point that I've indicated, then it could go down harsh because of the rounding top. So I see a lot of rounding tops, some rounding bottoms, and the market is confusing. Okay, it's very wild. It's not like 2020. You will see less YouTubers, you will see less TikTok financial advisors, and so forth. Be careful out there. It's tough. Always, if you have a certain amount of money, like $10,000, let's say, easy to do a math on, and you want to go and mix a bag of, 60% cash or 40% cash, 60% equity. From that 60%, which would be 6,000, you want to split, 10 stocks, and you want to, divide them up into 10%, and then slowly putting money in, putting money in through the year, okay? Because we don't know yet if we have a buying opportunity, a generational buying opportunity. Everything is sitting so high. So you want to be cautious, sitting with cash and moving in with a basket. All right, so that being said, that was the end of the review. Have a safe weekend, enjoy your family time, and we'll see you guys next week.